Hi, welcome to the Love and Lead podcast. This is our very first episode, and I just want to thank you for watching and for joining in. My name is Emily Tedrow, and I am excited to launch out with all of you and to talk about all things love and leadership. It's really about loving God, loving people, and leading out of that love in whatever sphere of influence that you're a part of. I am the lead pastor at Jesus Pursuit Church in Albany, Oregon, and I've been leading in some capacity or another there for almost 30 years now. And I have been the senior leader at Jesus Pursuit for almost 11 years now. I am also the mom of now adult children, and I've been a wife for 26 years. And love and leadership shows up in my life first at home, and then in the spheres that I'm a part of. A hero of mine, Steve Backlund, he says that the most important person that you will ever lead is yourself. And that is so true. And because of that, it honestly doesn't matter where you're planted. It doesn't matter where you have influence. You do have a role of leadership, and it's first and foremost to lead yourself and then your family and the relationships that you're a part of, to show up, to be present, and to lead in those spaces. But then also, whatever sphere of influence that you're a part of, you're moving outward to the people that God has placed into your life and the various capacities and spheres that you're a part of. If you're like me, there have been so many times in my life and leadership that I felt out of my depth. I felt certainly out of my comfort zone and in spots way beyond my natural ability. And, but I just want to say to you this today that leadership isn't found in the gifted and the talented only. It's found in the surrendered and the willing. And it's found in those who have hearts to pursue growth and who have hearts that are servant-hearted. The Bible is full of people who are now our heroes. They're heroes in the faith, but it's full of people who are known for their powerful leadership, but they didn't start off fully convinced that they were amazing leaders. They didn't start off as rock star leaders. They had a journey into love and into leadership that marked them and that made them the powerful men and women of God that we know and that we read about. Think about men like Moses, David, Joseph, even like the apostles, Peter and Paul. They had a journey of leadership. They had a journey of growth. And let's not forget powerful women like Esther and Mary, the mother of Jesus, unassuming young women who, weren't even allowed to be influential in many spaces, but they grew and they stood up as these powerful leaders that have marked all of our lives. And their stories of leadership have marked us. They all had to say yes. All of these men and women had to say yes, and they had to rise to the occasion in leadership, just like you and I have to. In this podcast and these conversations that we will be having, we will challenge limiting mindsets. We'll go after beliefs. We'll pursue growth as leaders, and we'll have amazing guests that will come on and share their stories and their journeys that we can grow and be inspired from. We'll have some difficult conversations because, as you know, life and leadership, love and leadership can be difficult. And I know that these conversations will be helpful for those that listen. I trust that these conversations will spark other conversations with people in your life and in your community. And they will become catalysts for shifting mindsets, cultures, and communities. One of my favorite examples of leadership in the Bible, personally, is the story of Deborah. And obviously, as a woman in leadership, I look for female examples of rock star leadership. But regardless of Deborah's gender, her story models something for all of us in leadership, and it's important for all of us. Deborah was a prophetess. She was a judge in Israel, which means she had the ability to lean into and to hear the voice of God for herself and for her people. And she was also a judge, which means she really understood the written word of God, the Torah. She was a scholar of the word. So much of her voice and decision-making was the rule of life for the nation of Israel. And there's so much about her story that we'll dig into another time. But for this podcast, I just want to remind you of Deborah's song in Judges 5, where it says, "Village life ceased to exist until I, Deborah, arose," which means stood up, got up out of the spot that I'm in, stood up, took my place. It says, "Village life ceased to exist until I, Deborah, arose as a mother in Israel." There was war at their nation's door. And what does it look like for village life to cease to exist? It means things are bad, right? Like, you can go in your own mind and just think of like, what does it look like if village life ceases to exist? But I think we've all experienced some of that in our own lives, in our own communities, where it's like, this is not the life that we were created for. Something has to change. This is where Deborah's song rises up in all of us. Village life has ceased to exist until you decide to take our place and show up and rise up and stand in the influence and the leadership and the mandate that God has put on each and every one of us. It comes out of a place of love. Deborah saw herself as a mother. She was a mother. I'm a mother. Maybe you're a mother or a father today. There's something out of that starts first in the heart, and it's love and it's passion for your people. And that is the driving force that says, I got to show up. And she did that. She rose up as she took her place as a leader, and she said, not today, not on my watch. She led. She spoke the word of the Lord, and she called life forth in and to her people. She spoke truth. She spoke hope. She spoke a future. And then she went to war with them. Listen, God's answer to solutions that we are facing right now as a community, as a people, as a nation, his answer to those is a leader. And like Deborah rose, it's time for leaders all over the earth to rise up, to stand up in the authority, in the influence that we've all been given. And as we do this, we're going to see life released and transformation happen in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our cities and communities. This podcast is going to go after things like what it looks like to lead in the midst of crisis, the mindset of a leader, putting love first in all things, what it looks like to navigate betrayal, to overcome adversity. And it's going to call leaders to reformation, to be reformers, to be the builders, to be the repairers of the breach, and so much more. I love this conversation of leadership. Like all of these other heroes of the faith, I have my own leadership journey. You have your own leadership journey. You may today not feel adequate. You may feel like you're in over your skis, but I'm telling you that you were called to influence and to stand up for this time on the earth, and you are a leader. And so we're going to have this conversation. One of my best friends, another amazing leader in our community, we go for walks and we have these talks and conversations about all things love, all things leadership, just life. And almost every time without fail, we say, I wish I would have recorded that. That conversation shifted something for me. That gave me so much hope and so much life. And I want to go back and think about this conversation again. I want to have this, listen to it again. But, we're on a walk. We're not recording our conversation. And that's really where this podcast was birthed. Those conversations where we can come and just go after it and grow. The most powerful thing a leader can do is have a growth mindset and look to always be a learner. When you stop learning, then you're done. So friends, we're going to go after learning together. We're going to go after mindsets. We're going to grow. We're going to challenge each other. We're just going to have amazing conversations. I'm going to bring guests on. We're just going to go on a journey of love and leadership together. So thank you for joining. This is the first podcast. There are many, many more to come. If this sounds like a space that you need in your life, that you want to be a part of, I welcome you. Thanks for being here today. We're going to love and lead until life is released in our communities. Thanks for joining us today.